This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Welcome to the Jack Murphy Podcast. Hello, all you beautiful people out there. Hope you had a great weekend and a great Halloween. Here at the Murph House, wow, we were inundated with trick-or-treaters. Totally cleaned us out. We thought we had enough candy for however many came, and that was not true. We wound up having to unplug all the inflatables and lights and scurry inside and turn out the lights because we ran out of candy at like 9:30, and they were still, the ghosts and goblins were still coming. It was pretty special, and I wanted to just as a wrap up to Halloween, I wanted to show you a video that we didn't get to on Friday when we were in the midst of that great interview with the world-famous Claire Stevens, formerly of Z100. And it was, I got a couple of car stories for you today. This was a guy, do you remember the car called the Geo Metro? It was kind of like the Chevy Chevette or the Ford Fiesta. Inexpensive car, kind of poorly made. I think Chevy or General Motors made it. But anyway, this guy had one that I guess was the highest mileage Geo Metro in history. He had some crazy amount of miles on it, 800,000 or something like that. But finally, even he gave up on this Geo Metro and decided to get rid of it in a very unique way. Watch
Time
this.
to say goodbye. What a ride.
Man, it looks like it's seen its better days. So that is a 1,900-pound pumpkin. Boom. Oh, there it is. You don't want a 1,900-pound pumpkin. And by the way, that's not even a, for those of you that are regular watchers to this show, that's not even that big of a pumpkin. We had a 2,800-pound pumpkin picture last week.
When your wife says, correct me if I'm wrong, do not, under any circumstances, correct her.
By the way, seems like every day somebody's allergic to something. It's peanuts, or it's gluten, or it's dairy. Even in my family, my daughter, all of a sudden, I guess it's the new grandson. He's allergic to dairy. So anytime she comes to eat with me or I go over there, whatever she has, there's no dairy, no butter, no cream. How can you even live? How can you get up and face the day without butter or cream or yogurt or whatever? No dairy at all. She's having to really rough it. But I read a study over the weekend that found that most people who think they can't tolerate gluten, and that seems to be the big one right now. I'm allergic to gluten. I can't have it. And have you ever had gluten-free pasta? Don't even bother. It sucks so bad. But there's a lot of people out there. But it turns out that a lot of people who think they can't tolerate gluten probably can. Turns out that in about 75% of the cases, they're just having a bad reaction to something else in the food. So unless you have celiac disease, gluten may or may not be the real issue. That's the worst when you go out to eat with somebody that's got these allergies. First of all, at restaurants, I tend to wait until I get hungry to go. So when I get there, I'm kind of getting hangry, just a little bit hangry. And, you sit down, they bring the menus, you wait, and the guy goes, what can I get you to drink? I'm just going to have water. Okay. Then you wait, and the water comes, and then I'm ready. I know what I want. And then there's always one or two in the group that, give us another minute. We haven't decided. Now the hangry's really building up in me. But I try to keep my cool, sip my water, usually guzzle my water. Now I'm waiting on more water. And eventually the guy comes back or the waitress comes back. Is everybody ready? I think so. Let me ask you, does this have cream in it? Or does this have gluten? Does this have peanuts? Or it's just on and on and on. By now, the hangry's taken me over. And I just say, look, I don't care what they order, what they're allergic to. I'll take the hamburger and the fries. And I move on. I just can't take it. I get too hangry. It's not my fault when I get hangry.
I heard AI is going to take everybody's jobs. But I ain't seen any AIs out there stealing catalytic converters yet.
All right, couple of strange things going on today. The first one, I love this story. I really do. There was a couple, I believe this is in British Columbia, Canada, and they had a Chihuahua, and the Chihuahua got out. Now, I covered this story in print a couple of weeks ago, but now there's video. So the Chihuahua disappears, and they have not only coyotes, but they have wolves in the woods in British Columbia. So the family thought, well, that's it, dog, Chihuahua out here with the coyote. I mean, when I lived out in San Diego, you couldn't, if you had a dog outside at night, unless it was a big dog, you could forget it. Cats, it didn't last a minute. But anyway, some guy sets up a game camera out in the woods, and what he catches is like the greatest thing ever. The Chihuahua has taken over a freaking wolf pack. I kid you not. Look at this. He starts the howling, and the wolves join. Now, you would think the wolves would just eat the Chihuahua, but no. He literally is running the pack. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos where he snaps at him, and they go, oh, back up here, buddy. Leave me alone for a minute. Back up off me, buddy. Look at him. He is so cool. He just hangs out with wolves. He's not coming back home. You can forget that. He's not coming back home. He's king of the jungle now. I love that dog. Isn't that great?
I like to eat candy corn one color at a time. If you're really getting OCD about it. Well, I'm not always a nibbler. I'm kind of a gobbler. I eat a lot of candy.
All right, now the other kind of strange story that's going on comes to us from Lake Mead, Nevada, where residents have reported hearing mysterious, thunderous sounds echoing through the canyons for the past few days. It's caused fear, speculation among all the locals. The sounds, which are described as a deep metallic groaning, have been reported by several hundred residents and campers near the Redstone picnic area. Now, I've never been to the Redstone picnic area. I know nothing about it, but it is a popular camping spot close to Vegas and the Hoover Dam. Videos of the sounds have been circulated. I tried to find a video this morning, and I couldn't find one, but I'll continue to look today. If I find it, I'll give it to you tomorrow. But, sometimes during earthquakes, before earthquakes, after earthquakes, sometimes the earth makes noise. I can remember the 2 times I lived in California, the biggest earthquake I went through, the most violent, was a 4.8. Doesn't sound like much. Well, you get on the 3rd floor of your office building, and you get a 4.8 roller, they call it. It's where the ground literally is doing this, and it hits that building, knocked me right on the floor. And then afterwards, there was a terrible noise. I don't even know how to describe the noise, but you could tell it was the earthquake that made the noise. So this could be any number of things. Geological shift, secret government project, 3-Eye Atlas sending out extra who knows? And by the way, why won't NASA release the pictures, the good pictures of 3i Atlas all of a sudden. We know they have them. We know they took them. We know that even though the government shut down, there are still people working at NASA. Just release the photos and let us see them. And our taxpayers paid for it. We want to see them. I'm tired of waiting to see what this thing is. It's 3i Atlas. Driving me crazy. All right, now I have a warning for you for those of you who have older cars. Now, I kind of prided myself. For years, I would buy pretty much the same model car, the same color, same interior, and everything. And I would buy them when they were about 1.5 years or 2 years old. It was a Mercedes ML350. And I could get about $15,000. It was about a $35,000 car at that point. And I would drive them about 125,000 miles. And then I would go look for another one like that. Well, the last one I bought was in 2010. And I pretty much stopped working in radio in 2012. And I just decided, this time, I've got some friends that have the old Mercedes, the old diesel Mercedes. I got a buddy named Tom up in Greensboro. He's got one that's got over 1 million miles on it. Yeah. And it never tears up. It just keeps going. So I decided that I was going to drive this thing till the wheels came off. And what I discovered is they don't make them like they used to. So I had a problem with this car when I was living out in California. It just started doing all sorts of weird things with the electrical system, like warning lights going off, headlights coming on, the radio would come on or the radio wouldn't, just weird stuff. I took it to the dealership. They gave me a loaner car. They kept my car like a month. And so they finally said, oh, we found out what's wrong with it. There's a computer board in the back of it, and somehow that computer board has gotten wet. And I said, well, I don't know how it got wet. So anyway, they replaced that board, and my car insurance paid for it because it was water damage. And it's a good thing they did because it was like $3,000+. So anyway, they put it in, and we had these horrible rainstorms that came. And about 2 months later, it did the exact same thing. Take it back to the dealership. They give me a loaner car. They said, oh, we're sorry. Let us see what's going on. Well, they kept my car forever. Never called and asked for their loaner car back. Finally, they called me and they said, we figured it out. You've got a bad seal on the tail light, and we figured that out by taking everything out and running it through our car wash over and over and over till we found the leak. And so they fixed it, and then the guy said, I go in to pick up the car, and he goes, that's going to be $4,800. And I said, I kind of feel like this is your fault. You fixed it last time, and you didn't fix the problem. And he goes, yeah, our manager thought you might say that free charge. So I didn't have to pay anything, which was great. Fast forward 7 or 8 years, I'm living here in North Carolina, and we had a really bad thunderstorm. Next day, my car's doing all sorts of stuff. It won't crank. Then all of a sudden, the burglar alarm starts going off. Then the headlights come on in the middle of the night, just doing all electrical stuff. So I take it into the dealer, and he goes, yeah, your computer board's gotten water on it somehow. And long story short, they totaled the car. But it was a different thing this time, and I want to alert you to it. If you've got an older car, when it rains and the water comes down, like let's say you got a hatchback. Well, you know where that crack is, where the hatchback is right there? Well, the water goes in there, it drains off to the sides, and you have 2 little drain holes that drain that water away from the door and from going inside your car. What happens is, over time, dirt, grit, leaves, debris, stops up those drains so they can't drain properly. Now that water sits up there on that seal and it gets inside your car. Same thing can happen on your. That's what happened to my car this last time, and they totaled it. And I just bought a brand new set of tires. Really pissed me off. But anyway, here's a young lady it happened to with her sunroof.
So, was someone going to tell me that if you have a sunroof, there's a sunroof drain?
Yep.
And if you don't regularly check it, you could potentially flood the interior of your car?
That's right.
No one told me. Okay. Like, guys, it's not even funny. This is not mold. I live in Georgia, so I'm pretty sure that's red clay, but all of this is wet.
Yeah, so, and if it's close to some electronics, it's going to short out the electronics like it did on my car. So just a warning for you about what could happen if you have an older car. Most of you are probably rich and you don't drive older cars. I'm cheap. I always drive used older cars. Just who I am.
Hello? Hello?
Well, it's the end of an era at MTV. It's they're finally canceling Ridiculousness after 15 years, 46 seasons, 1,700 episodes. New episodes will continue to air until the year 2026. Now, the guy that came up with that show, what's his last name? Rob somebody. You'll know his face. This guy has gotten filthy rich off this show. And I've watched him on TikTok and on YouTube, and he explains his technique for doing it, how he didn't get burned out. He went in and recorded 3 or 4 shows a day for several weeks, and then he wouldn't work for a long time. And he had this great deal with MTV. He was making all this money. He was putting all the money into real estate and like storage units and stuff, like just a really cool guy and really, really smart guy. But anyway, it's coming to an end. I mean, one of the most successful shows on television, if you think about it, from MTV. It's crazy.
Step up here on this chair and close your eyes. All right, and then everybody fill in. And we're going to ask you to fall, and then they will catch you. So you have to trust us. I'm going to count to 3. Just relax and fall. Okay? 1, 2, 3. No!
I don't know about you, but I hate this daylight savings time. I really do. Last night, it really hit me. I'm in a good mood because the Panthers, who normally suck, somehow beat Green Bay yesterday. They didn't play that great. The defense played pretty good. I think it was more of Green Bay sucking worse than they did. Anyway, Panthers win by a field goal. We'll take it. But I'm watching the game, and at 5:25, I look outside, and it's dark. Not supposed to be dark at 5:25. Do you agree that they should just do away with this daylight savings time? Let's leave it like it is in the summer. I don't care if it gets light later in the morning. Let's keep the light as long as we can in the afternoon. Because when it starts getting dark at 5 o'clock and it's raining, that's when your buddy the Murph gets that seasonal depression. I go downhill quick, friends. If it's raining and cold, send me a message or something, cheer me up, because I go downhill with the seasonal depression. Yeah, but I'm tired of it, and according to a recent poll, 54% of Americans, I would think it would be more. 54% of Americans would love to see the clock changing done away with for good. 40% want to keep it. Well, those 40% are wrong, and I think Tom Homan should deport those 40% so that the other 54%, like you and I, can enjoy more sunlight later in the afternoons all through the winter. I don't want it getting dark at 5 o'clock. It's depressing. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it causes seasonal depression for me, and I don't like that. I mean, I don't even know what's the point? I've heard so many different things. Somebody said, well, in the wintertime, Jack, I thought you'd know this. In the wintertime, it's so that the kids don't have to get on the bus in the dark. Kids can get on the bus in the dark. The buses have headlights. They got lights at school. I'm sorry, but that to me is not a good enough reason. Kids can get on the bus in the dark. Not going to kill them. Give them a Pop-Tart. Say, go get on the bus. Get out there. Get on the bus. You're saving your Uncle Jack from getting seasonal depression. Now get the Pop-Tart. Get on the bus. For what it's worth, most of the holdouts aren't clinging to the joy of changing clocks in the middle of twice a year. The issue is whether the permanent time would be the later summer hours of the early. Oh, I see. So they're arguing about whether or not we would stay on spring forward or fall back time. Now, I am for staying on spring forward, where it stays darker late at night. And then this 40% that I'd like to see Tom Homan deport, they like it to get light earlier. It gets light plenty early enough, especially in the summer. And who doesn't like the fact that it stays light until, 9 o'clock at night in the summer? Everybody loves that, except these 40% that we need to deport to a foreign country. One that's to northern Russia, where I bet it gets dark at 3 in the afternoon. Probably doesn't get light at all in the winter. It's just dark all the time. They love it there. Anyway. A lot of people who are a part of the criminal element, they're thieves, or they like to steal from stores, or just criminals in general. Some of them are very intelligent. Some of them, very small number of them. Most of them are idiots. They only get away with it because the stores and the system is so lenient that they allow them to get away with it. That wasn't the case for this shoplifter over the weekend. I actually own one of these, and I was going to bring it up here and attempt to replicate what this guy did. I may do this on the show tomorrow. A 41-year-old man from Indiana was spotted at an Ace Hardware store on Saturday with a noticeable bulge in his crotch area. See, right there, the employee's got to make it's like if you see a woman that's kind of big and she's smoking, and you're thinking to yourself, you really shouldn't smoke while you're pregnant, but you're not really sure if she's just fat or she's pregnant. And so you don't have enough guts to say anything. You really should say, ma'am, it's not healthy for your baby to smoke while you're pregnant. And then if she says, hey, I'm not pregnant, you go, pardon me, my mistake. Try that. That's what I would do. I've done it before. Give it a try yourself. It's a lot of fun when you're wrong. But anyway, at this point, the Ace Hardware employee, he's got to make a tough choice as an employee. He's got to go up and go, sir, you have a pretty noticeable bulge in your pants there. Now, if I'm the customer and the employee walks up to me and says that, I would say, well, thank you. You're right. I do have quite a noticeable bulge. Thanks for noticing. and then I would have just walked on out of the store. But that's not what happened here. This guy with the noticeable bulge in the crotch area, turns out the man was stealing a router. Now, do you know what a router is? I have one. I don't know why I have one. Let me just say that. I bought one probably 25, 30 years ago. I was watching probably PBS, and old Norm from This Old House. He pulls out the router and does something, and I go, that's cool. And I ran right out to Northern Tool and Equipment or somewhere, and I bought myself a router. And you know what? I used it one time. One time. And it's been sitting out there ever since. But my point is, this is not like putting a stapler down your pants or something. I mean, this thing it's this big. It's got a motor, a bit, a big cord. I don't even know how you would get it in your pants. Anyway, they call the cops. They stopped the guy as he was walking out, and they asked him what he was packing. I wonder if that's what they really said. Hey, stop. What you packing down there, buddy? He admitted that it was a big tool. He had a Milwaukee M18 router in his pants, which is worth more than $200. And you know, a lot of times these shoplifters, you see this now on TikTok and YouTube, they don't come up with very good stories when they are caught in the act. He initially claimed that he wasn't stealing. He was planning to go back inside and pay for it. He was just holding in his pants for a little while. He later admitted he stole it so he could sell it himself and get some money to pay his bills. Well, that's just sad. Just sad. I'm sort of surprised that the left-wing liberal media hasn't already gotten a hold of this story and changed it to, he said he stole it so he could sell it himself and get money to feed his children because they didn't get their EBT cards this month. By the way, let me say this before I say another word, because I don't want to hear your BS, your giving me grief about this, but I don't want to see anybody go hungry. I particularly don't want to see any children go hungry. But I want to point out a couple of things here. I heard this over the weekend and I was stunned. The average person who is not on food assistance, EBT, SNAP program, or whatever, the average female weight, and I don't know how they came up with these numbers, but these are real numbers from the government, weighs 146 pounds, which is probably about average. It may be a little over what doctors say you should weigh. The average SNAP recipient weighs 211 pounds. And, you know, there have been some moves to restrict what they can buy with their EBT SNAP cards, because a lot of people go in there and they buy all soda and brownies and potato chip. They don't buy any nourishing food with it. But anyway, a court has ruled that the government's going to have to release some contingency funds that they had for the SNAP benefits. The whole thing could be solved if the Democrats would just sign the continuing resolution. But again, I want to know how we wound up with 43 million people on SNAP benefits to begin with. That's way too many. A lot of them got on it during COVID. A lot of them were illegals who are illegal immigrants who came in and they immediately got on SNAP. Like I read in like Minneapolis and in Michigan that they in Minneapolis they've had a huge influx of Somalis. 90%, I read, are on benefits. 90%. Well, if Minnesota wants to pay for that, fine, but I don't think the average American wants to pay for it, because most of them are fit to work. They just, if you give them everything, they're not going to work, because their standard of living even on our benefits that most of us would say, I don't want to live like that. They say, great, it's way better than what they had in Somalia. But I don't see any end to the government shutdown until next Thursday. That's my prediction. Next Thursday, I think they'll have this thing solved. I'm not going to tell you why. I just believe by next Thursday, the government shutdown will be over. We'll see. Well, I am very excited about the podcast. This is episode number 97 of the Jack Murphy podcast, by the way. And I'll tell you why I'm excited. One, the way I planned this podcast was I said, I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to put everything into it for a year and see what happens. And John Garrett promised that he would do that. He crapped out. He's down to 1 day a week. He's just he's depressed and lazy. So, seasonal depression. But I was very excited. I didn't even know because I haven't really kept up with the stats, but I got this really neat email from Podbean. Podbean is a platform that I use. Whenever I finish the video podcast, I convert it to an audio podcast. I send it to Podbean, and they send it out to Apple Podcast, iHeart, and about 10 other platforms that I haven't even heard about. But we just had our 1,000th download of the podcast. Now, you compare that to a lot of other podcasts out there, that's minuscule, but it was a big deal for me. So that got me very excited. We're at almost 290 subscribers on YouTube now. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to get phone calls and emails from artists, authors, and other people who want to be on the podcast. So it kind of got me excited, re-energized, rejuvenated, as it were. And so we got a couple of people coming up on the podcast here the next few days. I think you're going to be excited about some people who wrote some really big songs that you'll recognize. They were in movies recorded by major artists. We're going to talk to them. And they've got some new stuff out they want to tell us about as well. So anyway, I hope you have a great Monday. If you're not a subscriber, open a YouTube account. It's free to do. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops. And tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.